What is the pathway to becoming a successful solicitor and reaching partner level? Regarding immigration, what are the key things businesses need to be aware of? Today, I am talking with a highly inspirational lady, Kamilla Kelemen, who tells us about her journey to becoming a partner of award-winning law firm DHM Stallard, the challenges she faced along the way, and how she overcame them. As Kamilla is a leading immigration solicitor, I thought I'd also take the opportunity to ask her a couple of questions about immigration too. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Alison McWhinney podcast, where we have conversations about business and wellbeing success. And today I'm delighted to welcome to the podcast Kamilla Kelemen. Now, to give you some background on Kamilla, Kamilla is originally from the Ukraine, and she came to the UK via Slovakia. She graduated from Kingston University, completing an LLB in law and international law. She has more than 14 years' experience specialising in UK immigration law and has been a qualified solicitor since 2015. Kamilla is a partner at DMH Stallard, an award-winning law firm with a strong reputation for building long-term relationships with clients. A law firm that knows clients value lawyers who listen to them and to provide jargon-free expert legal advice. Kamilla has extensive experience and knowledge in advising on skilled worker, global mobility, global talent, students, innovators, and Tier 5 applications, as well as companies on the sponsor license applications and compliance matters. Kamilla advises on all aspects of naturalisation and citizenship registration applications, as well as applications for early entry clearance, leave to remain, and indefinite leave to remain under various categories of immigration rules. Kamilla is an expert in tackling complex immigration matters concerning sponsor license applications, as well as issues arising from potential suspensions and revocations of the same. Kamilla has been recognised for advising individuals with complex UK immigration history or unusual circumstances by providing clear advice on process and effectively outlining options. Kamilla has experience in the preparation of administrative reviews, challenging application refusals, and preparing appeals to UK immigration tribunals and European Court of Human Rights. Kamilla, a very warm welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. I'm delighted you're here. I would like to start with your journey from the Ukraine to the UK, the challenges you faced and how you overcame them, because I just think they're so inspirational to viewers.
Thank you. Thank you. So I was born in Ukraine in late 80s. And when I was just 3 years old, my family made an incredibly difficult decision to uproot everything and move to Slovakia. I think you have to understand what does the sort of 1993 Slovakia and Ukraine looked like. The Soviet Union had only just collapsed a couple of years earlier. Ukraine was in the throes of economical turmoil, and hyperinflation was destroying people's savings overnight, and there was this overwhelming sense of uncertainty about what the future held. My parents, like so many others, were just trying to find more stable, something safer for their children. Moving to Slovakia wasn't exactly though smooth landing either. We arrived as an outsiders, we didn't speak the language, we didn't understand the culture, and post-communist Slovakia was itself going through a massive political and economic upheaval, as it only has just separated from Czech Republic that very same year. As a 3-year-old, I obviously didn't grasp the politics of it all, but I felt it in other ways, the confusion of new surroundings, the isolation of not being able to communicate with other children, the tension in my parents' sort of voices as they try to navigate a system that wasn't built to welcome people like us. There was a real prejudice as well. People looked at us differently, and my parents had to fight twice as hard to access all the sort of basic things. You would think that would be a big enough experience, but a few years later, I faced a whole different set of challenges when I decided to move to England as a young student. You'd think it would be easier the second time around. I was older, I had some life experience, I'd already survived one major upheaval, but honestly, it came with its own unique difficulties. First, again, the language barrier all over again. I'd
Mm.
learned Slovak, I'd made that my world, and now I had to master English to the level where I could compete academically with native speakers. That is no small thing when you're trying to read dense textbooks as a young law reading student. You're trying to write essays, participate in seminars, and where everyone else seems to be just instinctively knowing the right things to say. There was also the financial pressure. So studying in England is not cheap. And as someone coming from Slovakia without a family safety net of wealth, every term felt like a question mark. Could I afford to stay? Could I cover rent, tuition, living costs? I was working part-time jobs alongside my studies just to keep my head above the water. Beyond the practical stuff, I would say also these relocations, there's always this emotional weight of it. The homesickness, the feeling of being caught between identities. I wasn't quite Ukrainian anymore. I wasn't fully Slovak, and I certainly wasn't English at that point. You kind of walk around feeling like you don't belong anywhere, and that can be a lonely place to be. But I think that it also drives you when you've had to rebuild your life more than once. You develop this resilience, this sort of refusal to let circumstances define you. And I think with every challenge, that every challenge became a fuel. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it, any of it, because it made me who I am today.
Mm. And as you embarked on a career in law, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Oh, this is a really, really good topic. So obviously, I was a female in my early 20s studying law, and then when I graduated, I sort of embarked on a journey of securing jobs and my law training. And it's really, I think nobody really prepares you for what it actually is like stepping into the legal profession as a young woman. They tell you about the training contract, grind, the late nights, the billing targets, but there is a whole other layer that doesn't make it into the graduate brochure, I would say. I think there are some really probably five challenges that I would like to talk about. It's mostly to do with things like confidence, being taken seriously by your peers, work-life balance, networking, and how to manage microaggressions. I find that quite interesting as a topic.
Hmm.
So, with the confidence, I call it a confidence gap. It's sort of a I think every woman I've spoken to has felt this at some point. You walk into the room, you've done the work, you know the law inside out, and then there is this little voice, do I actually belong here? It's called imposter syndrome, and it's real. It's really real. And it hits one really hard when you're surrounded by people who seem to have been born so knowing how to command the conference room. And at early stages of your career, you might be a couple of years post qualification, and you're still sort of second guessing uh, whether you should speak up in a client meeting or wait until someone more senior says what you're really thinking. And the worst part is that you watch other people say exactly what you were going to say with half the preparation and them getting a nod of approval. I found that really interesting, the dynamics of the conference room in my early stages of the career. But I think the tool here is honestly just practice and self-awareness. It's like starting small. Make a point of contributing one thing in every meeting. So those small steps, even if it feels uncomfortable,
And
I would
gradually
say,
building.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, so build it up. Because if you come to the meeting thinking, oh, I'm gonna master all of this now at the same time, it's not gonna happen. You probably forget it all. So I would say focus on small steps, one thing at a time. And with time, you kind of get that full skill. Because, it's also very important, I think, to keep a record of your wins,
Hmm.
because write them down. Because one day when you feel like a fraud, you can look back and remind yourself that you've earned your seat, because you've done all of those things and you have it sort of written and keeps reminding yourself that, oh, I've done this, I shouldn't be feeling down. Like I've done this, I know what I'm doing. I think mentorship helps massively too. Like finding someone, ideally a woman, who's been through it and who can tell you, yeah, I felt that too, and it's gonna pass. Here is how it's gonna sort of pass. You're gonna get past it. And and you'll see the outcome. I think over time you will stop waiting for permission to speak, for
Hmm.
example. You just speak, and people listen because you know your stuff. So I think it's really important to do it that way.
Yep.
Um, the second one is being taken seriously. I think that's a big one because uh, it's very it's classic and it's infuriating. You're on a call or in a negotiation, and the other side directs everything to your colleague even though you're running the matter, those kind of feelings like
Mhm.
you're not being seen. You're just there, but no one is talking to you, for example, or you get mistaken for when you're an associate, but someone thinks you're a trainee, or, it's not always malicious, but sometimes it just it just ingrained bias. And it's sometimes, most of the time, it's unconscious by other people or people who are doing it, but you feel it. Um, you
I've
know,
experienced something similar in my career where I've been managing a male member of staff, and you go to a meeting and people assume that your male member of staff is actually your boss,
yeah,
and it's the other way
absolutely.
round. Yeah.
hmm This is exactly where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But it chips away at you. I mean, at that
Mm.
young age, people already assume you're a junior just by age, and
Mm.
being a woman on top of that feels like a double disadvantage.
Yes.
I call it. So, exactly that feeling. And I'm glad to hear that you sort of seen it and
Mm.
experienced it. I think the way to handle it is to own your own, to sort of own your own role visibly, right? So introduce yourself clearly at the
Mhm.
start. Say your name, say your role, and say that you're leading the case because I feel that brings a level of authority if you do it that way and it stays with people. Don't leave the room to have assumptions. I think don't leave any space for assumptions. Just say it. If someone redirects a question to your colleague, you can redirect it back. You can say something like, actually, I'm handling this. And in that, so let me take that one. So take control and take the lead on the.
Yeah.
on things. And it doesn't have to be aggressive. This is not about, being aggressive and, it's just to be clear. Be clear on who you are, what you do, and that you are leading the situation and
And
you're,
take up your place.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Be visible. And I think the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Again, it's just building up those skills. And I think people will also be adjusting to you and getting to know you, and you build your space.
Mm.
I think people will start seeing you, and they will be showing you that respect. And you will at with time stop doing it because you just mastered the skill and you're visible
Yeah.
when you walk into that room. I think third challenge thinking about it, I think is the work-life balance myth when you enter the profession. So, you're sort of in this intersection where your career is very demanding at that sort of late 20s when you're qualifying. But also you have a lot of things going on in your personal life, like a real questions of life are starting to appear, serious relationships, settling down. So it's all sort of happening there. And you're thinking about the future and how to plan your life. The legal profession is obviously notorious for long hours, and there's still this unspoken expectation.
Mm.
I like the term unspoken because it is. It's
Mm.
truly unspoken. It's just an expectation. Nobody really tells you straight in your face. It's just expected. And especially for women, if you want to make it, you have to sacrifice everything else, I think, at some point in your life. Everything should goes on a side, and your career is your main focus. And that really, I think, where anxiety kicks in around that age, because you start thinking, what if I want to have children one day? How is that going to work
Mm.
alongside my career? So you start to have those first questions and doubts,
Yeah.
as to how is that going to look like. But I think very important thing, and I think generationally we're moving along, and I'm seeing nowadays the younger generation entering the profession are actually much better at this skill than we were historically. I think they learned and mastered the tool of boundary setting. So it's like, I know, I mean, it sounds easier than said, but it's being strategic about your time rather just being present for the sake of it,
Yeah.
just to show your face and be there. So, learn things like I can get this done first thing tomorrow. It doesn't
Mm.
have to be by midnight today, just, for the sake of it.
Mm.
You prioritize and make sure you know what is a real priority and what can just wait
Mm.
until tomorrow and what is truly urgent. I think it's very important to find firms that are very flexible and they support flexible working. And very importantly, not just on paper, but in practice
In
as
practice
well.
too.
So the firms that really do it, and then talk to women around you. How do they navigate maternity leave? Listen up to the stories of people doing it in real life. How do they balance? What are the tips? So it gives you an idea of how is that going to look like. And you will start sort of to realize whether it is a sustainable career for you and whether you would like to do that. Because it's really hard to burn out
Mm.
um, in this sort of field, and you really need to look after yourself if you see it as a long-term career, and also to thrive at every decade, not just in your 20s, not just in your 30s, but in your 40s and 50s and all the way to the retirement if you choose this as your career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the topic, I think one of the controversial one, which I wish every young person was told when they entering the profession, is the networking. Oh, it's so important.
Mm.
Build your own network, very beginning, find those networks. It's a challenge, right? Because it's difficult at that point, because you're just focusing on learning and mastering the law, but keep doing it as well. It's not
Mm.
something just partners or senior associates do. It should start at a very early, stages of your career, find those groups, find the connections, you know, don't be afraid to step in those traditional spaces, that seem to be closed off to you. Just get in there, get your name known, seek out the sponsors as well. So not just the mentors, but people who would actively advocate for you in a room. I think that's really important. Um, I think the outcome of this would be that your network becomes something that you've built intentionally and not something you've just inherited by default, You're going to be so proud of it when you look back
Yeah.
years down the line. And I think the network will become one of your greatest career assets. Your
Mm.
book of clients and referrers and people will carry you through your career and will be very important at every stage of your career. I think I had one more to finish off this challenge topic, if that is okay. It's a bit controversial, I feel.
Go
It's
on.
like, how do you deal with, which I found quite like sort of, it was extremely shocking, I think, for me as someone building my career, is the microaggressions within the colleagues, especially, or other people you work with. So it's really this I think is the hardest one to pin down as a challenge because it's death by a thousand cuts, I think. It's like it's like being called a sweetheart by opposing counsel, and it's like
Mm.
or it's being told you're very articulate as thought that's a surprise.
Yeah.
It's like, or if you're being ta asked to take note and you're not the most senior, the most junior person in a room. So it's just exhausting sometimes when it happens, especially at many fronts and it comes to you. So I think I think with this one, it's really important to sort of knowing how to address them and how
Mhm.
to let go.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely a personal balance, I think. But you have to do something because it happens a lot, and it's just not a nice way of communicating, but you will experience it. It will
Mm.
happen to everyone. Um, I think it's good just to have those quiet words and just say, like, no, I think it should be the other person who should take a note, you know?
Yeah.
Say it out loud, nicely and politely. Um, but just have that support system and just point to those kind of behaviors so people know it's not okay
Yeah.
uh, to receive microaggression
Yeah.
from anyone.
Because if you just let it continue, then
Yeah,
it will just, you know,
unvalidated.
it's not
Being
going to stop.
quiet, absolutely. And being silent and quiet is almost validating it because you're
Yeah.
not pointing it out as being wrong. So I feel like it's really important to just, build your own resilience, personal resilience towards it, but also don't validate it by staying quiet, even though you're able to accept it and deal with it. Don't stay silent about it and
Yeah.
just deal with it.
Some
Yeah.
excellent tips there. Thank you. For viewers who are not lawyers,
hmm
what are the different levels in a law firm?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And I think that many people outside of the profession are curious about this, especially when you watch some series on a TV or TV shows
Yes.
and you think this is the way it works in a real life. I think in a typical UK law firm, there is a clear hierarchy. So, although the exact titles of the roles will be different from firm to firm, but I think there are certain levels that are just structured. I mean, I think at entry level, we obviously have trainee solicitors, so who are undertaking a training contract or a qualifying work experience. So that is a first entry to the profession as a trainee solicitor. It usually takes 2 years to train as a solicitor, and you would take different 6-month seats within the firm. So you experience various areas of practice. So just not one service area, but you will sit within the departments that deal with the different areas. For example, yeah, at DMH, we would have 6 month seats across the business, and trainees are given early responsibility and usually direct client contact already at this stage. Once you qualify, you become a qualified solicitor after your training, and this is usually in practice referred to as NQ, so newly qualified. And from there, you then progress from your newly qualified role by years of experience, you progress to associate and a senior associate. So that is sort of a career development for a solicitor. And above that, you have a partner level, so past the senior associate level, which is really the pinnacle of a solicitor's career in a private practice. You might have various types of partners, from salaried partners, fixed share partners, or equity partners. So that then at that level of partnership, it splits again based on your levels of experience. So what you see with the trainees all the way to senior associate with years of experience also happens at the partner level. You would sort of go from the ranks of being a junior partner to senior and then very senior partner. So again, by years of experience in that role. So I would say that would be the very basic explanation as to the levels.
That's helpful, thank you. As well as years of experience, what are the requirements to become a partner?
Becoming a partner, I think it's just a culmination of years of dedication, skill development, and just sort of consistent delivery of excellent results. I don't think so there is a single formula, but there are several sort of key requirements that are generally expected. First, you need a strong record of legal expertise. So you must be recognized as an authority in your area of law, which is expected from every partner, because by this point in your career, you really should be someone with a very good technical knowledge, and you have to be sort of have a good judgment and are trusted by clients and colleagues alike. In my case, it's been a sort of over a decade of building this deep experience of immigration law. So that is how I build my expertise. And I think that the shifting point here is from becoming someone who's a case worker, so working on your cases. And there's a lot of, we're all good case workers because we just get the job done, right? You get the case for the client, you'd get the job done. But I think the shift with a partner is that when you become an authority, so clients trust your judgment, you know, they get guided by your advice, they follow what you say. So they have this sort of sense of you being an authority. I think that's really important in a partnership as to that you're becoming an actual authority on what you advise your clients. And I think you have to demonstrate you can build and maintain the client relationships. Partner is not, just a technically excellent lawyer. You're a business developer, so you have to bring work in. You need to retain those clients and grow the firm's practice, right? Because that is what partnership is about. And lastly, I would say probably leadership skills. So remember that partners are responsible for mentoring junior lawyers. They're contributing to management and strategic direction of the firm when it comes to people and upholding its value and cultures. So with my personal journey, it was really important to me the decision which firm I join as a partner, because I felt like the firm's values have to align with my values on culture, especially, and how they treat their people. Because obviously, majority of firms would be technically great and there will be experts. But for me personally, it was more about the value, the direction, the mantra that the firm has, and how they treat their people. I think that was really, really important to me and a big sort of major reason why I joined DMH, because I aligned so much with their direction and how they manage the people.
Mm. And in terms of the role of a partner in a law firm, obviously you're dealing with cases yourself and bringing new clients in. I'm interested to know the other areas of work you get involved in because you're essentially managing a firm, aren't you? And so, how do you balance the sort of management of a firm and the lawyer side?
Oh, it's a constant, constant, never-ending battle, and I'm not forgetting that I am also doing another full-time job, and that is raising my young family. So
Mm.
it's constantly a lot of pressures on all sides. But I think the role of the partner is just so varied, and it sits at the very heart of how the law firm operates. So you have to just lead those client relationship, deliver the expertise, and just try to do your best whenever you can. I mean, and especially just keep doing it until you're really enjoying it, because if your motivation is not there, I think it impacts the quality of your role, and it is just seen. So I think you have to continuously be motivated and enjoy what you do. It's critical for partners sort of beyond the client work, because that is one of the most important thing is the client work and the expertise you bring. But I think the business development, all partners to certain level, when we all become BD experts as well, because we just have to be out there. We have to know how to sort of identify opportunities, building firm's profile, and keep that steady pipeline of work, because it's responsibility towards us and our income, but also all the other employees and people who rely on us, bringing the work in and making sure that we remain sort of profitable and keep the firm sort of successful on that front. And that then comes hand in hand with leadership and management, because we are responsible for our teams to perform.
Yeah. So when existing partners look for new partners, um, are they looking for any experience in management and business development as well as the legal side?
Absolutely. I think every new you know, potential new partners, we would be looking at DMH, for example, for someone who embodies the qualities that will strengthen and sustain the firm for the future. So obviously, as I said before, technical excellence should be given at this point. So, you must be an outstanding lawyer in your field. But beyond that, we would look for someone with a proven ability to build and maintain strong client relationships. It would, and going back again to what we've already discussed as partners, we would be looking for, partners also look for alignment with the firm's culture and values, right? So at DMH, for instance, DMH values a supportive, inclusive culture, encourages people to take ownership of their roles, and potential partner would need to demonstrate that they will be able to contribute, positively in that environment. I don't know, it's just, yeah, you just have to see that the values are aligned. With business acumen is really important, the business development, but remember also the every business goes up and down. You're not always performing 150%. You have better, worse financial years. You have political, economical factors that obviously influence how the firm is doing. But I think it's also the resilience when times are not so good, and how do you embrace it? Do
Mm,
you continue pushing? Do you continue developing? Or it kind of pulls you back and you sit down and you think, oh, can't do it. Maybe I don't have the skills. I just want to give up, but I can't get the client. I'm really frustrated. I think it's important at that time to just keep going,
mm,
show that you think you're forward thinking, it's about future, because not always everything shows now, all your efforts and everything you do. Sometimes it shows in many years later,
mm.
whatever you've done now. So yeah, but yeah, business acumen, leadership roles, and the values, I would say those would be things that any firm should be looking for when they're choosing the partners to join.
I think that you're right that, quite often overnight success rarely is overnight. It's actually years of hard slog where nothing happened and then suddenly you get your breakthrough,
Absolutely
you know.
right. The
Absolutely.
breakthrough, the lucky break, as we call it.
There's no luck
Everyone,
involved at all. Hard work.
everyone, I think everyone gets it, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
everyone gets it in their life at some point. If they're persistent and if they keep going and doing the right things, it will come your way.
Yeah.
Definitely will.
We've already touched on the long hours that's prevalent in the legal profession. Um, Now, DMH takes employee well-being very seriously, and I'm intrigued to know what they are doing to provide employee well-being. What sort of strategies are they deploying?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're absolutely right, that the legal profession has traditionally been associated with long hours and high pressure. DMS Stallard is a firm that takes a genuinely progressive approach to employee well-being, and that was one of the things that attracted me to the firm. The image seller maintains a friendly and inclusive culture and is committed to promoting sort of flexible working.
Mhm.
So allowing everyone to take ownership of their role, as I said before, and of their role in the work. So, the firm's own sort of internal surveys reflect this as well. So a significant proportion of our people would say that it's a good place to work and that they have confidence in the leadership, which is great, right? Because they're happy at their level, but I also align with what the leadership is thinking and where the firm
Mm,
direction is going. And they feel like they have a good work-life balance. So flexible working at DMH, I think, was embraced even before pandemic, and the firm continued to build on that foundation. So it's not something that is a new concept or recent concept, as many firms when post-pandemic changed them and the working culture. And the firm holds a Gold Investors in People accreditation, which is a nationally recognized standard that reflects a genuine commitment to the development and well-being of staff. So, we have created an environment for people to succeed.
mm,
And I think that sort of ethos permeates everything we do. We are creating environments for people to succeed, because their failure is our failure, we believe.
mm,
Because, we have to be conscious about the environment they work in and what we provide as a firm for them to thrive
mm.
and achieve their goals.
I think that kind of supportive environment is just so important, isn't it? And
Uh-huh.
just really helps position employees so well to be their best and to give their best when you
Absolutely.
feel that
Absolutely.
support is behind you and that success is celebrated.
I think, and it's clearly seen, you would see the firms that have high retention rates, you would see firms that have people working for them for decades because there's no reason to leave.
Mm,
They're happy.
mm,
They're happy to come to work, do their best, and that's the best sort of stamp, I would say, on
yeah,
how you're doing as a firm is your retention rates and how you're able to retain the talent and people to work for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Turning to immigration, which is your specialism,
Mm-hmm.
what are the key things businesses need to be aware of these days?
Yeah, immigration, it's the area I'm deeply passionate about. And it's more important than ever for businesses to stay informed,
Mhm.
because UK immigration law is changing at a remarkable pace. There are several sort of key areas that businesses need to have on their radar, but I think staying informed is crucial.
Mm,
I feel like UK immigration laws are spoken about in media. It's quite high presence and spotlight on immigration, but I don't feel like when it comes to knowing what actually is the deal breaker and how do I remain compliant as a business is really outlined there for sort of Businesses. So I think, as I said many times before, is the compliance prevention rather than cure.
Mm.
So for businesses to focus on the stage where they're making sure they are fully compliant with immigration requirements, having all those policies and processes in place and maintain them at that level rather than dealing with the issue when it arises. So
Mm.
preventing it and safeguarding your business against any potential breaches of immigration, because those can have a huge sort of implications on a business once the damage is done. So absolutely prevention, and I'm always there to help businesses sort of implement those preventions and help them be sustainable and not being hit by any potential breaches of the immigration laws.
And what's the best way to stay in touch on any developments in immigration law? Are there any newsletters people can sign up to, for example, or where's the best go-to place?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you are free to sign up to direct access information, which is on the government portals and government websites. So businesses can actually sign up for the alerts, which so the government would probably send you an email saying that there has been a change in a policy or the rules. So you can have that first source. But then also firms like us, DMH, if you are interested, we can sign you up for our newsletters and our sort of updates. So you could be on our mailing list and you can receive updates regarding any changes or interesting webinars or training sessions that we offer
Mm.
to our clients, existing or new clients, and for which they can you can sign up and sort of join those to stay on top of things.
Excellent. And finally, how can people get in touch with you if they need immigration help?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way is to go on our website. So DMH Stallard website, where you'll be able to see all our service areas, specifically immigration for business and for businesses and individuals, and you'll see my profile there. You'll have my direct contact details, my email and my phone number. Yeah, so you can just reach out directly, and I usually would conduct a quick call free of charge. Would usually be 10 to 15 minutes to assess your query and
Mm.
see who I can be of help. And then we can agree on the next steps and see if you need any help. And I'm very transparent when it comes to time and costs because I believe it's very important for to feel, to trust your lawyer, to feel good about your, chosen advisor, and to have a very open and transparent relationship when it comes to timelines and costs. So you know where you stand, you know your budget, and you know what you will get at the end of it.
Lovely. Camilla, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And that's
Oh,
been such an insightful conversation covering quite a number of key areas that I'm sure viewers will find very interesting. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me. And there's been a lot of topics to cover, and it's been an absolute pleasure to give some tips, hopefully, to people who are starting, but also people who are in late stages of their career, and also equally to any potential clients who need immigration help. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome. Lovely stuff. And a final request, please do subscribe to this channel and like these videos. Help me make the channel grow even more. Thank you so much.